chorus of boos raining down on the officials as we get started here in the third quarter. Minnesota with a 3-point lead over Penn State, 17-14. Mark Jones along with Bob Davie, Holly Rowe down on the field. A very controversial ending to the first half, Bob. Penn State driving down the field, directed by quarterback Michael Robinson, in for the injured Zach Mills, but they came away empty. It died with an interception by Minnesota.
Well, first of all, Minnesota starting this game with a surprise onside. You knew it was going to be a little bizarre today. There was no question about it. But the last drive was really a little bit sloppy on both parts, in my opinion. You see Penn State right here with no timeouts. It was a first down, and they spiked the football. The clock was stopped anyhow. On second down with no timeouts, they run the draw. Then on third down, they try to spike the ball, but they had a procedure penalty. Here you see the replayed third down. The ball is batted. Terrence Campbell comes in. The ball is clearly trapped. So Penn State should have had the opportunity for a game-tying field goal at the end of the first half. But Mark, in all honesty, it was a little bit sloppy by Penn State as far as clock management and execution at the end of the half as well.
And you saw the subsequent reaction from Jopa of Penn State. Out of the end zone, it's Maroney for Minnesota receiving out to the 17-yard line. And let's take a look at the first half statistics. Both teams pretty even in rushing. Penn State with more total yards.
And you talk about Michael Robinson creating a spark for Penn State's football team. Mark, obviously he sparked that offense because there's 236 yards offense, but I think he sparked the defense just as much because Penn State's defensive football team seems to sense right now some momentum that their offensive team captured.
Minnesota had it early in the first half. Penn State had it late. First down and 10 for Asad Abdul-Khalik, the quarterback of the Gophers. They run it into the boundary. This is Marion Barber III out beyond the 25 at the 27, but there's a flag down at the 15-yard line. And the hold is against Minnesota. Just want to reiterate one thing, Bob. Going back to the end of the first half and the controversial call, the Big Ten is reviewing the benefits of an instant replay modeled along the lines of the NFL system.
Well, and I give the Big Ten a lot of credit because they are being progressive. And if you go across this country and talk to any head football coach, they all want instant replay because they want to do what's right. And the bottom line, that call at the end of the first half was simply a judgment call. And sometimes there's going to be human error because they don't have the same angle on that field that we have on these replays.
No doubt. First down and 18. Quick hitter, complete. Marion Barber III out to the 17. Let's go downstairs to Holly.
Well, guys, I sort of talked to the coaches at halftime. Joe Paterno blew by me like a hurricane and said, I'm not talking. He's very disgusted with what happened at the end of the first half. Glenn Mason, however, said they lucked out. He said the team that plays the best defense here in the second half will win the game. Also for Penn State, Zach Mills did not come back out on the field. He has a sprained left knee. He is doubtful for the rest of the game. And guys, just one little FYI, I was standing next to the official that made that call on the interception. It looked good from where we were standing, but you said it's a human subjective call. It's hard to tell on the replays.
And Mark, everybody, including these officials, hope that that does not impact the outcome of this football game.
Second down and 9. Pressure coming from the Nittany Lions. Abdul-Khalik sacked by number 2, Derek Tolles.
A re-energized crowd, a re-energized Penn State defense. I go back to Michael Robinson, but Derek Tolles, the linebacker, you see him coming right here on the blitz. Gino Capone outside, Derek Tolles inside, and they get something that doesn't happen very often, a sack against the Minnesota quarterback, Asad Abdul-Khalik.
Tolles on the sidelines playing with a rare enzyme disease that limits his plays to about 45 per game.
That's only the third sack of the year that Minnesota has surrendered.
Third and long for the Gophers. Ellison has the first down. And a big conversion by Minnesota. Out to the 33. Jared Ellison, the lanky 6'2 sophomore, with a big play.
And you are going to see a great block by Tony Patterson, the wide receiver. Right here, Mark. He just locks him up and provides an opportunity for Jared Ellerson to get outside and convert the first down. But a great block by Tony Patterson right there.
You know, Minnesota's got some tall, strong receivers. Patterson at 6'2", Hosek at 6'5", Ellerson at 6'2". Big blockers downfield, as we just saw. First down and 10. A solo formation, 2 tights and 2 wideouts. Just got the play off. Thomas Tapay. Tapay out beyond the 40 to the 41, about a yard short of the first down, brought down by Capone.
Mark, so much of the game, we talked about the impact of Asad Abdul-Khalik. Getting that zone play started where they want to get it started, depending on where the defense is lined up. And that time you saw Asad Abdul-Khalik check at the line. He is a big factor in why they have success running that football, because he gets it started where they want to get it started to.
Doing a great job running the show this afternoon on 2nd down and 1. Go fake to Tapay, looking up top, going to take off himself. Has the first down on Penn State's side of midfield at the 49. Derek Tolles chased him out of bounds. When you've got that quarterback that gives you that running dimension, it makes your offense that much more lethal. Asad Abdul-Khalik out of Elizabeth, New Jersey. Has a son, Kasim, that was born back in February of this year. An impressive young man on the field, too.
Well, and he's like a coach out there, Mark. He's been in this system for 5 years. I believe he's the only Penn State player, excuse me, the only Minnesota player that came here the last time Minnesota was in Beaver Stadium.
And won back in '99. Marion Barber III knocked out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage by Capone and Rich Gardner. You know, Capone's second on the team in tackles. An all-conference selection last year, an academic All-American candidate this year. And number 44, Thomas Tapay. Boy, he is an impressive individual. When you talk about his body, that's a body by Jake. He is sculpted.
And he's a good blocker. You know, he really is a tailback, fullback combination. The NFL scouts really like Thomas Tapay. An unselfish player.
2nd down and 11. On the bootleg action. Asad Abdul-Khalik making something out of nothing, down to the 47. About 8 yards to go for the first down.
Sets up another huge 3rd down right here, about 3rd and 7 for Penn State. The last 3rd down, Minnesota went to the screen pass, and a great block by Tony Patterson kept the drive alive.
Glenn Mason's team with possession here in the beginning of the second half. 3rd down and long. Batted down at the line of scrimmage. Scott Paxson got a hand on it and knocked it down. And it's 4th down. Minnesota sends in the punt crew. Double clutched and hesitated on that one, Bob.
And Scott Paxson, I don't know that he had a great vertical, but he got the football on the ground. Mark, interesting, when Minnesota punts the football, the last time we saw Reese Lloyd really roll away from Derek Wake, the outside rusher. Actually take the football and punt it on the run to escape the outside punt rush. Kind of unique, but a way to avoid the pressure.
And he does it again, Bob. Caught inside the 5 by Lowry. Lowry brought down at the 12-yard line. Well, Michael Robinson took the reins of this Penn State offense at the beginning of the second quarter when Zach Mills went down with a knee sprain, we're told, and he has worked magic and turned the momentum in Penn State's favor. Robinson, the 6'2 sophomore, sometimes plays quarterback, sometimes running back, sometimes wide receiver, but in this game, they simplified the package for him, Bob, and put him at quarterback.
And the encouraging thing, you know he can run. He made some excellent throws to the wide receiver. So he's added some diversity right now because of his legs.
Look at the offense in stark contrast under Robinson, a lot more productive. 1st and 10, the toss. The freshman Austin Scott trying to get to the edge. Knocked out of bounds at the 15. Let's go downstairs for more on Robinson from Holly.
Guys, they were trying to use Michael Robinson in a variety of capacities, but they decided it was just getting too confusing. He was in for so many different players. When they would substitute him, guys were all looking at the sideline. Is it for me? Is it for me? So this week in practice, they simplified it. He only practiced at quarterback all week. And talking to him yesterday, he told us it was a great help. Felt like he could just be a quarterback and not have to worry about everything else.
And this guy, he's smart. He's over a 3.0 GPA here at Penn State. Met with him Thursday. Really an impressive, sharp young guy.
Second down and 7. It's his show right now. Along with Austin Scott in the backfield. Stopped about a yard short of the first down. You talk about Austin Scott and the quarterback Michael Robinson. And Scott especially said that, we'll finish this play first, Bob.
And he's an eye tailback. You see him run the tailback counter with Scott McHugh, wrapping around and blocking Terrence Campbell. But he is the prototypical eye tailback that you're looking for here at Penn State. And that's a pretty famous number he's wearing right there, number 22 at Penn State.
It's pride, too. Third down and 1. John Capoletti also wore number 22. Here he is again, double deuce. Trying to get loose, and he gets the first down at the 26. Austin Scott noticed that Penn State's graduation rate among African-American players was about 85%, and that was a big reason why he chose to come to Penn State. Bob, that on the heels of Michael Robinson having a very high GPA as well.
Hey, Mark, let me tell you something. Academics are important at Penn State. I was at practice yesterday. LaVon Chisley, the starting defensive end, missed practice the day before the game because of academics. It's not just lip service here. They take academics serious.
Robinson overthrows intended receiver, Mike Lucan, the tight end.
Mark, Penn State comes in
number 20
to this game in total offense, 95th in the country. In pass offense, 104th out of 107. So they've struggled in the passing game throughout the season.
We're here in Beaver Stadium. Over 100,000 on hand for number 20 Minnesota taking on Penn State. Minnesota coming in unbeaten at 4-0, but still trying to silence some critics. Michael Robinson in at quarterback. Zach Mills injured at the end of the first quarter. This is Austin Scott, brought down by Mark Rossley. And one of the controversial plays of the game so far taking place near the end of the first half. Michael Robinson goes back to pass, and the ball batted at the line of scrimmage. Terrence Campbell, did he or didn't he catch it cleanly? Well, I think the replay shows that he didn't, but it was called an interception by the official. And you got the expected reaction from Joe and the rest of the Penn State fans.
And like I said, you really hope that that's a controversial call, but not a key call in the outcome of this football game.
Illegal formation offense. Not enough men on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Mark, and I count that up as really 6 penalties that Penn State has had prior to the ball being snapped today. But once again, 5 new offensive linemen, a lot of different combinations, a young football team.
Second down and 15. Robinson off the play fake, down the middle of the field, complete to Cranchett. The 6'8" senior, a huge imposing target. Makes a nice grab.
Cranchett at about 6'7", was a wide receiver. You're going to see the play action. He comes right up the seam. Excellent throw by Michael Robinson. But this is an intriguing guy, Cranchett. A really good athlete. Moved around a little bit, and he can provide a spark for this football team in the passing game.
He's in the first down, backs out of the eye. There's Austin Scott brought down near the line of scrimmage by Montgomery. Let's go back to Reese.
Ohio State and Northwestern, Mark. Scott McMullen has a reputation among his teammates of liking to look at that tight end. And on 3rd and goal, a backup tight end, Ryan Hamby, making the grab. Ohio State perhaps on its way to its customary 24-7 lead before making things interesting. It's 17-0 now.
The one team that has perfected winning ugly over the last 2 years.
There is no ugly associated with winning.
That's an oxymoron. You're right. Second down and 10. Robinson on a quick three-step drop. Completes it after he was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Tony Johnson made the catch. Mark Loxley got one of those big paws up and deflected it. Good concentration by Johnson. Give him credit.
Excellent concentration as the ball is batted at the line of scrimmage, and also a real good tackle right here by Tremaine Banks, a young corner that Minnesota is really high on. Redshirt freshman has a world of ability.
Third down and 3 for Penn State.
A lot of different tools in that toolbox right now if you're Fran Ganner with a Michael Robinson at quarterback, and he's down and distance.
Predetermined run by Robinson has the first down and then some down to the 40-yard line. No doubt about who the ball carrier is going to be on that one.
Mark, it is so difficult defensively because you have to spread out with the 3 wide receivers. Once again, it's the quarterback counter. Michael Robinson takes the football, and really no force or contain by Minnesota's defense right there. Difficult to defend everything against a quarterback in a scheme with Michael Robinson in the football game.
First down and 10. Austin Scott down to the 36-yard line, brought down by Mario Reese and Tremaine Banks. Scott coming off a big week a week ago, had 21 carries for 100 yards against Kent State, along with 3 touchdowns.
Minnesota comes into this game 5th in the NCAA in total defense, but I don't think they've really been challenged this year, to be quite honest. But I do think Greg Hudson, the defensive coordinator, has done an outstanding job, starting with that Music City Bowl last year against Arkansas.
Robinson, slippery, and tripped up by his shoestrings. And speaking of slippery guys, back to Reese in the studio.
They're going to be here all day.
All right, guys, second half kickoff here between UConn and Virginia Tech. And you know what, we oftentimes remind people that it's admirable to be sound in the kicking game. UConn kicking it to Mike Emo, and Mike Emo is loose. Mike Emo. Virginia Tech 34-0 rolling over UConn. That was really, really bad. No comments from you guys.
Yeah, he was emoting, Reese, on that one. I couldn't resist. 3rd and 6.
The thought process right now for Penn State, 3rd and 6. Are you in 2-down territory, which really affects the play call?
Robinson with plenty of time. Completes the pass to his big fullback, Sean McHugh. Short of the first down at the 33-yard line.
And it's a good thing that Minnesota had some pressure that time on Michael Robinson, because they had a wide open receiver down the field, Maurice Humphrey, number 5, that was open.
Sets up a 4th down and 3 to go. And they're going to go for it. Robinson on the field. Got to get to the 30-yard line. They're 3 of 5 on 4th down. Robinson in trouble. And Minnesota will take over on downs. Much to the disgust of Fran Ganner. Ben West with the pressure for Minnesota defensively. So they don't get any points out of that drive. It's Minnesota's turn, and Fran Ganner wishes he had just one more crack at it. We'll be back.
Nobody but Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealerships can give you the works. An oil change, expert inspection, and a whole lot more for only $34.95 or less. And nobody beats our price in the name brand tires we sell. Like 4 select tires for only $99 or less. At participating Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealerships.
Nobody can do auto service like we do.
On DVD Tuesday.
Tuesday.
I buried those cockroaches!
An epic motion picture, a powerful performance.
I don't even better!
Nothing else comes close to Scarface.
Say hello to my little friend!
Own the Anniversary Edition DVD Forever Tuesday.
Don't be fooled by imposters. Nothing pops, crunches, or tastes like Pringles. The true original.
Designing an all-season tire to outperform performance tires wasn't rocket science. Then again, maybe it was. Pilot Sport AS. Our most advanced C-rated tire ever.
Now, buy 4 Michelin tires and get a free JVC DVD player. Visit your Michelin dealer today. Offer ends September 27th.
Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
Mom, can some of the guys come over for pizza and watch the game? Sure. Guys, come on!
Whoa, got some big NFL appetites heading your way. Looks like you need the NFL deal from Pizza Hut and Pepsi. Order any large specialty pizza at regular price and you get a medium one-topping pizza and a 2-liter of Pepsi for just $1.99 more. That'll cut any team appetite down to size.
Game's about to start. Game?
Bye! Now Pizza Hut pizza and a Pepsi for just $1.99 more. Gather around the good stuff.
Minnesota leads by 3 with 4:39 to go in the third quarter. And, Bob, you got my vote.
We got to get my name spelled right on that ballot.
They hand it off to Marion Barber III. Gets a block from his quarterback. And made something out of nothing out to the 39-yard line. The SEC Conference on display primetime tonight on ESPN and ESPN2. At 7:45 Eastern, Lou Holtz takes his Gamecocks into Knoxville to face undefeated Tennessee. Volunteers have never lost to South Carolina in Tennessee. This game also available on ESPN HD. On ESPN2 at 9 Eastern, number 7 LSU takes on the Bulldogs from Mississippi State. 2nd down and 4.
That last run was a tremendous effort by Marion Barber. Shows up as a 6-yard run in the stats, but that was a tremendous effort to get out of a negative play.
He's got drop and drop by the team's leading receiver, Ellerson. What can you say about Jared Ellison on that one, other than he should have caught the ball right through his arms? That's a guy whose work ethic has gotten a lot better over the last several months.
And Glenn Mason told us their most consistent wide receiver. Look for the big tight end, Utech again. They've gone to the slant several times on the weak side.
Pass complete. Tony Patterson with the first down for Minnesota moves the chains down to the 46-yard line into Penn State territory.
Minnesota with the quick 3-step game. They go to Tony Patterson right here. Derek Wake's lets them inside. They thread the needle inside of Gino Capone. Tony Patterson didn't play the first 3 games for an injury. 5th-year player, originally a quarterback. Had the big block on a 3rd down earlier. Comes back with the big catch on this 3rd down.
Minnesota running more than passing, which has been their signature during the year. This is Maroney, the true freshman. Brought down just shy of the 40 by Derek Wake.
Minnesota comes into this game, only fumbled the football twice all year. Coming in today, only 2 sacks. One of them, they counted a sack on a reverse, actually. So this is a football team that stays on rhythm, Mark. And you see here, 2nd and 5. Much easier to call those plays if you're Glenn Mason when you stay on rhythm like that.
See, they do a 3-receiver formation. Patterson, Kosak, and Ellerson. They run it into the boundary. Marion Barber III. Looks like he has another Minnesota first down just beyond the 35-yard line. Jimmy Mitchell making the stop on the play. Barber III looking good.
Again, Esslinger, the center. You see him on the full zone reaching out there. Comes with a great block right there. Gets the linebacker chopped. The reason they pull that center, they're able to pick up the 4th man or the extra safety the teams drop down to stop the run. So Minnesota with a good answer to those 8-man fronts you see every week.
1st and 10. They fake the reverse. Abdul Khalik got rid of it. Good pressure that time by Jay Alford. Joe wants grounding, but there's no flags then.
Mark, the rule is if the quarterback is outside the tackle box, as long as he throws the football down the field, it is not intentional grounding. Right there, that is a very, very, very close call. Joe saw it as he was well inside that tackle box.
They threw a flag about as late as you can throw one. And now Glenn Mason wants an explanation.
Glenn Mason say there, you see him saying it was a bootleg. That's a moot point. It's was he outside the tackle box or inside the tackle box? I think they got this right here. I give them credit for huddling and really taking their time and changing that call.
Quarterback under duress, still in the pocket. Through to an area, no receivers. Spot foul, wants it down, third down.
You learn a lot of things in 600 games as a football coach. I promise you, this guy's getting an earful. He knows how to work that official.
Joe is lighting him up.
I don't think that guy was much of a factor. He didn't get involved in that huddle.
He was like, don't kill the messenger. 600th game as a member of the coaching staff at Penn State. He's only missed 2. Second down and 20. Aaron Barber III. Brought down after a gain of about 2. Chris Harrell.
Huge call right there on intentional grounding, because obviously it sets up a 3rd and about 20 situation for Minnesota. And obviously they're well outside of field goal position. So that was a huge, huge penalty on the intentional grounding.
Although maybe not that far, because Reese Lloyd has already kicked a couple of 50-yarders this season. Right on the fringe of field goal territory right now. Abdul Khalik almost intercepted. Number 21, Alan Zamitis, broke it up with a nice break on the ball. The 6'2 sophomore making it 4th down and long for Minnesota now. Here comes the noise from Happy Valley.
Penn State has had some trouble with punt returns with Lowry in the football game. He dropped one against Kent State that ended up being a touchdown. Mark, you've already seen him catch one inside the 5.
4th down of Saad Abdul Khalik. Now here's the punt from Lloyd. Couldn't angle it. It goes into the end zone, a 42-yard punt, but it'll come all the way out to the 20. Michael Robinson trying to put on that hero suit and see how it fits when we come back.
Standing on the corner, watching all the guys go by. Standing on the corner, giving all the guys the eye.
Old Navy painter's pants at a price that really turns heads, starting at just $20 for men.
But you won't find a chocolate pair of painters. Old Navy painters' pants go by.
Nobody but Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealerships can give you the works. An oil change, expert inspection, and a whole lot more for only $34.95 or less. And nobody beats our price in the name brand tires we sell. Like 4 select tires for only $99 or less. At participating Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealerships.
Nobody can do auto service like we do.
Leon, your reactions following today's devastating loss?
Football's a team sport, man. So, I got to put the loss squarely on the shoulders of my supporting cast. Look, man, I've been carrying these guys the whole season, but I can't do it all. I need some help.
So your 4 fumbles weren't a factor in your mind?
Not if one of those other guys would have jumped on the ball. Again, Leon can't do everything.
There's no I in team.
Well, ain't no we either.
ESPN's College Football Saturday. Brought to you by Old Navy Painters Pants. They'll work for you. And by Quality Care Auto Service at Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury dealerships.
The last time Minnesota met Penn State here in Happy Valley, Penn State was ranked number 2. Minnesota stunned them in the upset win. The storyline a little bit different this time around. Michael Robinson filling in for the injured Zach Mills at quarterback and going upstairs, incomplete, and a flag down on the field. Tremaine Banks right there, number 4, defending Maurice Humphrey. Banks, one of those aggressive corners, had a pick against Ohio earlier this year. But Maurice Humphrey might be the fastest of the receivers. And it's pass interference against Tremaine Banks in Minnesota.
First thing, excellent job by Penn State of picking up the blitz. Here you're going to see Minnesota bring both linebackers on a cross stunt. The fullback, Scott McHugh, steps up and stones the linebacker. Now Michael Robinson throws the football down the field to Maurice Humphrey, and we get the pass interference call on Tremaine Banks.
Banks, one of those freshmen playing for Minnesota. We talked about Penn State's youth. Minnesota also with some talented underclassmen on their roster.
Good mix of 12 fifth-year players in the 2 deep and some young guys that have a chance to be stars. Nice mixture for Minnesota.
1st and 10, Robinson. Brought down. And boy, did Eli Ward come up like a missile from the secondary for the hit. And for more on the injured Zach Mills, let's go downstairs to Holly.
So, guys, Zach Mills has come out of the locker room. He's on crutches. I had a chance to talk to him. He said he has a sprained MCL, so it's good news. It could be a lot worse. But he did get a great round of applause from the student section here as he walked out. It's got to feel good knowing how he's struggled and how hard they've been on him in the press here at State College, guys.
Here's a look at how he was injured. The last play of the first quarter. Brought down. And brought down hard. Robinson taking the snap since that point. Since that play. Robinson sacked, and he threw it away. Brought down by Darrell Reed. They're going to mark the ball at the 27.
Not sure here, Mark, why the clock continues to run unless they ruled that his forward progress was stopped prior to that ball being thrown. So it must be a sack. They must be ruling that as a sack because the clock continues to run right here with 32 seconds left in the half. A little bit interesting right there in that call because there is not an in-the-grass rule in college football.
Robinson gets the low snap. Fires complete. Nice catch over the middle by Maurice Humphrey. The practice squad and folk hero coming alive
and
here.
Some young combinations starting to be created for Penn State as you see Michael Robinson, not real experienced at throwing the football. And also you see number 5, Maurice Humphrey, a young player. So starting to get some hits down the field for Penn State in the passing game. Once again, Penn State in the option formation, option pass, something like that maybe, Mark.
Here's Austin Scott, the true freshman, into Minnesota's half of midfield, and that is going to be the last play of the 3rd quarter. Folks, if you think Joe Pa's got to retire to the rocking chair, forget it. This guy has a lot of giddy up in his scalp, a lot of fire in the furnace. Joe Pa's running hot. We'll be back with the 4th quarter after this.
Monday Night Countdown delivered by UPS, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Nobody but Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealerships can give you the works. An oil change, expert inspection, and a whole lot more for only $34.95 or less. And nobody beats our price in the name brand tires we sell. Like 4 select tires for only $99 or less. At participating Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealerships.
Nobody can do auto service like we do.
In football town, I know my team needs me.
And without my boys, the game could be lost. It's football town.
I know it can make a difference.
I know fans can win the game. I've seen it, I've felt it, I've tasted it.
Oh, yeah!
I know. You make the game.
They set up in the eye on this, the last play of the game. And here's the snap. Hand off to the tailback. Peterson tries the right side. Wow, what a hit. But he stays on his feet, and he's broken to the outside, and it's wide open. Touchdown. Give him a touchdown.
Let's say this is you. Yeah, you're the king. But being the king isn't always easy. So, when you're with Allstate, you'll have over 50,000 professionals to help protect you. From claims adjusters who can help you fix a broken castle, to emergency assistants to ride to your rescue, to lawyers that go to court with you if you need them, and your Allstate agent who knows the moves to help you. Helping you, the king, feel protected. Just one more way, you're in good hands with Allstate.
Are you competitive? Take that competitive fire to ESPN.com ASAP, and you could win a VIP trip to throw down in the first ever Sore Winter Challenge presented by Tylenol. This is huge, real huge. The Sore Winter Challenge presented by Tylenol.
Back at Beaver Stadium for the start of the fourth period. Mark Jones along with Bob Davey and Holly Rowe, Minnesota number 20 ranked and leading by 3. The counter. Austin Scott making would-be tacklers miss down to the 35. Ward and Fraley both had a shot at an 11-yard pickup and a first down for Scott.
Austin Scott, 215 pounds. He's bigger than he looks, and he shows why everyone's excited. But, Mark, one point to make right now. Minnesota has not been challenged all year. They've never been behind in a football game. They haven't been in this situation. Penn State, been through a little tougher times, a little more battle-tested. That may be a factor coming down the stretch here. Penn State's been through it a little more.
First and 10. Austin Scott again into the boundary, run out of bounds at the 32-yard line. It's very rare that you will see Joe Paterno play a true freshman as much as Scott is playing, but he's earned his stripes. Ricky Upton is the backup behind him, a senior guy who had waited his turn. Upton, number 44, was the starter at the beginning of the season, but Joe Pa going on merit, deciding to go predominantly with Scott in this game.
They have another true freshman, Tony Hunt, number 24, that they really like, that played a lot last week against Kent State.
Second down and 6. Austin into the boundary. Austin Scott brought down inside the 30. The tackle made by Ben West, number 59, who missed last week's game because of an injury.
Mark, as we look at Fran Ganner, here's the thought process. It's third down and about 4. Penn State right now calculating what kind of field goal is this from a distance standpoint. Do we have 2 downs to try to make a first down? Run the ball twice in a row. Penn State 9 for 13 on third down, so they've had some success. But really, is this 4-down territory? Allows us to run the football twice.
See what they do here. On 3rd and 3. Robinson under duress. And it's dropped by Gerald Smith. The first drop of the day, and that continues to be the bane of the Penn State offense. They've been haunted by drop passes all season.
And Mark, this is clearly a tremendous effort by Michael Robinson. Would have been a first down. The ball just flat dropped right there by Gerald Smith. Penn State going for the field goal. So the decision on third down by Fran Gannon, let's throw it, try to convert, because we are going to kick the field goal if we don't make it.
Robbie Gould going to attempt one from 45 yards out. He's 6 of 8 on the season. The 6'1" junior. He's 2 of 2 between 40 and 49 yards out. High snap. And Gould pushes it right.
Mark, go back to the drop. No one in this stadium feels worse than Gerald Smith. But that is a key play now in this football game.
Well, Paterno can't catch it for him. Neither can Robinson because he threw it. Minnesota leading by 3 when we return.
It's going to be a wild Wednesday on ABC. First, is Junior ready to run the business? It's an all-new My Wife and Kids. Then, it's the series premiere. Her dad's a homo. Everyone is coming out for it.
Who wants frittata?
Ah! What the hell is a frittata? It's all relative. And 15 women, 1 bomb. An all-new Bachelor. Then, it's the premiere of the season's coolest new show, Karen Cisco. Wild Wednesday, starting at 8/7 Central, only on...
Right here, right now at Dunlop Motors, we're having our ultimate red tag sale. And for a limited time only, we've marked down every vehicle in our entire inventory. We have Ford Tauruses starting at $59.95 or $139 a month. And when we make a deal, we'll pay off your trade no matter how much you owe. So call 1-800-NEXT-RIDE now or come into Dunlop Motors in Crystal today and save big during the ultimate red tag sale going on now.
Minneapolis, final closeout blitz at Toyota City in Brooklyn Park. Times running out for winning deals on 03s. Dependable Camrys, just $17,888 RTD. Less than 18 grand for a new car. The Tough Tundra, not $30,000, only $25,700 RTD. Even the best-selling Sequoia, a great call at $39,888 RTD. Save over $6 grand. You can't lose during the closeout blitz. Hurry in, score incredible savings every 03, only at Toyota City. The cities where the action is.
Number 20, Minnesota leading 17-14 with 13:27 to go here in the fourth quarter. The Gophers trying to stay undefeated. They have never been behind in a game this season. But under heat right now from Penn State. Nittany Lions missing a golden opportunity moments ago on a drop pass. Abdul Khalid completes the pass to Barber III, and he's tackled immediately.
Penn State's defense under Tom Bradley, Mark, has settled down in this football game. Early in the game, it looked like a track meet. Minnesota going up and down the field, but I think they've really come on now, playing with a lot more confidence as this football game goes on. And keep in mind, they lost some tremendous football players. Michael Haynes, Jimmy Kennedy, 2 first-round draft choices last year.
A tremendous lineman. Second down and 9. Run it again out to the 34-yard line. That's the true freshman, Lawrence Maroney. So far today, we've seen Maroney, Tepe, Barber. Jackson hasn't gotten many carries at all.
And Tony Patterson back in the game for Minnesota here on third down. He's been a key element, number 17 in their third down success, both in blocking and receiving.
Third down and 4 for the Gophers. Big 3-step drop, batted at the line of scrimmage, incomplete. Tamba Hali got one of those mittens up and knocked it down. Time now for our Old Navy storyline. And there's a look at some of the coaching points of the game so far. Minnesota running the ball well. The number 2 rush offense in the country. Zach Mills of Penn State was injured, and Michael Robinson coming in and moving the ball down the field for Penn State offensively. He had a vital pass dropped on him moments ago.
And Penn State moves Derek Wake to the left side where the punter has been rolling. So a chess game going on right now. See what Minnesota does? They brought it right at him.
And Reese Lloyd with a nice punt, gets a good roll. Lowry fields it at the 20 and is collared at the 26-yard line. 12 minutes to go in the fourth quarter of play. A 44-yard punt, 5 in the return. Michael Robinson going to get another shot when we come back.
Here's a lesson for the would-be Casanova. Every so often, it's advantageous to remind the little lady she hasn't dropped off the radar. Well, well, well. 2-1, you'll be living the high life tonight.
We run with a fast crowd, a tough crowd. More like a mob. 43 asphalt warriors. Guys with one motto. What goes around, comes around. Eye for an eye, fender for a fender. Paybacks are a promise. Races end, rivalries don't. You got a nice ride there. It'd be a shame if something were to happen to it.
Careful who you mess with, because now the pack doesn't forget. NASCAR Thunder 2004, rated E for everyone. EA Sports.
It's in the game. This week on Home Makeover, we're turning the Wagner spare room into a home gym. Let's get started. Take a look. Yes! Yes! Nice workout equipment, thank you! No sweat. Now every Yamaha motorcycle and ATV is as low as 3.9% APR all the way to 2005. And just look at the results. Next time, we give new life to an old closet. So long, folks!
Everyone is talking about confidence.
That's why we give you the fix.
A slick and smart caper movie.
Oh my God, you're beautiful.
4 stars. Wow. Edward Burns and Dustin Hoffman are pure perfection. Confidence. Look for it on DVD and video.
It's not just the advanced technology or the world's best blades. It's the way it's all put together. No razor shaves better than Mach 3 Turbo. It's the world's best shave. We guarantee it or your money back. Mach 3 Turbo from Gillette.
Penn State doing all of its scoring in the second quarter. Minnesota doing most of its scoring in the first and in the second. Neither team on the board here in the second half. 1st and 10 for Penn State. Scott out to the 32, and let's go back to Reese in the studio.
All right, Mark, there's a basic premise in football. I know Bob's Davey here, but I think we got to cover everybody that's on the field. Even the people out on the edge, Darius Outlaw from Missouri, lined up on the edge of the Missouri-Kansas game. I promise you that I'll show it to you as soon as we get our tape ready. You're not going to believe the lack of defense. Back to you guys.
I'll tell you what, Reese, give up on football 101. That's our deal.
2nd and 4. This is Austin Scott again, breaking loose. Out to the 42-yard line. The true freshman, burgeoning confidence.
And Mark, a developing point here. Minnesota's defense, once again, hasn't been tested in the second half of football games. Penn State's offense has been on that field a lot. Think of the last 3 drives for Penn State. The end of the first half, squandered away points. They've only had 2 other drives. One, they went for it on 4th down, and then the last drive where they dropped the ball and missed the field goal. So they're moving the football, and Minnesota's defense is getting tired.
All right, here's the freshman again, Scott. And let's re-rack that tape and go back to Reese. Reese, you got it?
I sure hope so, Mark. Oh, here it is. Missouri and Kansas. Nobody's on Darius out.
Call timeout, Reese. You only got 10 guys. You got to cover it.
Good recognition by Brad Smith. Threw the touchdown pass, and the former starting quarterback, Darius Outlaw, gets his coach. I broke that down pretty well. Give me a telestrip.
Hey, you didn't need to log on to Football 101 on ESPN.com to know that that guy was wide open. 2nd and 10. Penn State's offense rolling here in the second half, but no points to show for it. Robinson on the waggle. Good catch by the backup tight end, Matt Kranchik, his 2nd of the game.
Again, Michael Robinson avoiding pressure off the corner. Brace contained. Here comes Big Kranchik, the big 6'7" tight end, using all of that 6'7". Tremaine Banks, good tackle right there in the open field.
Gives him a 3rd down and 4. Saw the graphic a few moments ago. You look at Robinson's productivity, about the quality of opponent that Minnesota has had in the previous 4 games. This is a step up against Penn State.
And Penn State has not punted the football since the first quarter, and they're not going to punt it here. Minnesota offsides, Darrell Reed.
Ball. Contact, neutral zone defense. That 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
That's a room service first down.
Right here, Minnesota does something. You see the defensive linemen don't even get in stances. They were trying kind of a little scramble, stuttered thing on defense that I've seen them do. But mental fatigue is as exhausting as physical fatigue. And once again, Minnesota's been on the field a lot, Mark.
There's Robinson, Bob, on 1st and 10, stopped up, nothing doing on that play. Let's talk about the Penn State offensive line. Under so much scrutiny coming into the game, Brown, Rush, Koslow, Reed, and Damone Jones getting to start for McKelvey. There's a lot of pressure on them coming into this game, but so far, especially in the second half, they've acquitted themselves well, Bob.
I think so. They've had some self-imposed penalties throughout the game, but all in all, they've played pretty well. And don't underestimate the value of Michael Robinson back there and how he helps young offensive linemen, because he can make people miss, Mark. But I agree, they're starting to come together as an offensive line.
2nd and 12, Robinson back and intercepted at the 36-yard line by Justin Fraley. A bad read that time. It was intended for Mo Humphrey. And Minnesota has the ball.
Mark, a lot of times you always put this on the quarterback, and I don't know, but this ball may have been a timing route where the slant was supposed to be broken off earlier. Maurice Humphrey's a young guy. Maurice Humphrey may have been coached to come underneath that receiver. Justin Fraley, though, comes up with a big interception. But it looks like the quarterback made a terrible throw. In reality, the receiver may not have broken that route off quick enough.
There's Barber the third. Out to the 44-yard line. Nice run brought down by Chisley. That's been a problem going back to Penn State. Their receivers and quarterbacks have not been in sync, on the same page for most of the season.
And now it goes back to Penn State's defense. Change defense. Mark, you almost have to have blinders on that sidelines when you're a defensive player and not get in the ebb and flow of a game and let that turnover affect you as a defensive football team. So step up right now and get the football back.
2nd down and 2. Thomas Tapei out to the 49-yard line with a Minnesota first down. Tonight, the SEC in full effect on ESPN and ESPN2 at 7:45 Eastern on ESPN. Lou Holtz and South Carolina take on the Volunteers. Tennessee's never lost to South Carolina in Tennessee. The game available on ESPN HD, the new high-definition service. Call 1-800-DIRECTV or your cable operator to get it. On ESPN2 at 9 p.m. Eastern, number 7 LSU takes on Mississippi State. 1st and 10. To the boundary. Barber the third with a nice gain down to the 45 of Penn State.
I like Marion Barber, Mark. I did not have a chance, obviously, to see him play last year. They come out of the bunch again on the sweep. I think he runs the football extremely hard.
They have his younger brother coming aboard next year. They've gotten a commitment from Dominique Barber. 2nd down, 4 to go. Barber played with the Gophers and in the NFL as well. Bunch formation to the left. Barber the third plowing ahead down to the 35 of Penn State. And another Minnesota first down. This is the number 2 rushing team in the country on display in Gophers.
And something interesting, excuse me, Mark, with Minnesota, really co-offensive coordinators. Mitch Browning, he's been with Glenn Mason 18 years, goes back to Kent State. Offensive line coach, then Tony Peterson, the quarterback coach, calls all the plays. So they have co-coordinators, which is something a little bit different in college football.
Well, it's working for them now. They've run the ball for 230 yards today.
They love the toss sweep out of that bunch.
There you go. Got some blockers out there. Barber the third Cuts it back inside down to the 30. Gained about 5. Rich Gardner making the tackle.
And you talk about the bunch creating problems on the defensive end. Watch right here. You see the angle that they have to block down on the defensive end. Then they pull the offensive tackle around. So they create great angles. And you see right there, number 55, Matt Rice, the defensive end, almost has no chance because he's outflanked, Mark, by a lineman.
Barber has run the ball now, Bob, 20 times for 112 yards with a touchdown. 2nd and 5. 2 tight end formation. They run it again. Barber the third with a first down at the 23. Booman making the stop for the Nittany Lions.
Minnesota loves this center, Esslinger. Started last year as a true freshman. Great athlete. Watch him right here. Just reach the nose guard like it's stealing. But really a good athlete, Mark. They say if you see him on campus, he looks like he's a member of the band or, you know, in the saxophone section.
Tuba man, yeah.
Tuba man. I mean, he's a young guy that plays with a great motor. They say he is going to be an NFL player at some point.
The NFL scouts have been hanging around campus a lot. Some of the talent. Here's Barber the third. Breaks a couple of tackles, has another first down at the 11-yard line. This is machine-like, piston-like, methodical, moving it down the field on the ground. And you see a smattering of gold and maroon there in amongst the crowd here at Beaver Stadium.
If you're Penn State defense, one thought process right now. Don't cave in. The ball's at the 11-yard line. Force a field goal. Keep this to a 6-point game. Give your offense a chance. Don't cave in.
And Mason says, I don't worry about playing on the road. It's one of the great scenes in all of college football here at Penn State. They've embraced the challenge. The freshman Maroney tripped up at the 9 by Capone. What a drive, an impressive one for Minnesota. And back to Glenn Mason, you know, he and Coach Paterno kind of have a mutual admiration society. And Mason says, I love coaching against Joe because he's all that's good about college football. Wearing a tie in his honor today, as reported to us earlier by Holly Rowe. 2nd down and about 8.5 to go.
This drive started the interception by Michael Robinson. Minnesota impressive taking this football, consuming clock.
Play fake, nothing doing for Asad Abdul-Khalid. Chisley stayed home, and we go home to Reese in the studio.
Mark, you just saw it flash on the bottom of the screen. The priority score, Kentucky and Florida, as called on College Game Day by Mark May. Cats are rolling, Mark, reverse, Derek Adney.
Derek Adney going down the sideline. The hustle by Kentucky. They were dominant in this game from the first bell, offense, defense, and special teams.
That set up Arliss Beach's 3rd touchdown of the day, and the Cats are rolling 21-3.
Brian Reese back here, an important 3rd and 15.
The last time Minnesota in this formation, they threw the screen pass out here. Here they decide to run the football.
Barber the third. Short of the first down at the 13. They have to get to the 1. Anwar Phillips made the stop, 4th down. And in comes Reese Lloyd.
Mark, I'm a little bit surprised. Penn State with 3 timeouts. Not a bad spot to use the timeout. It's too late right now. And this clock's going to wind down to about 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
An impressive streak, Bob, of made field goals by Minnesota kickers dating back to last year.
Now 21 straight field goals, Mark.
Reese Lloyd,
that is incredible.
Over England. The kicking situation was so much up in the air a couple of months before the season. Glenn Mason had no answers, knew of nobody to do punting or place kicking, and then he's a late signee. Reese Lloyd comes aboard. At one point, when he was getting to know the young man, didn't know his name, he said, hey, Winston Churchill, come over here. You're my punter and my kicker. And Minnesota calls a timeout, giving Lloyd time to ponder his next kick. We'll be back after this.
This week on Sunday NFL Countdown, we'll get to the bottom of Donovan's woes.
Being in this thing now for 5 years, You want to go out and be perfect. Maybe a little bit too perfect.
Examine the Parcells effect and talk some trash with Randy and T.O.
Who can make a play? I can.
Plus, do a little talking of our own.
The Packers have zero chance of winning.
Jeff Blake better whisper in the huddle because it gets so quiet down there, the defense can hear you.
Sunday NFL Countdown, presented by Old Spice, 11 a.m. on ES.
How would you like the power to change from this to this? Join the thousands of men and women who are changing their bodies and lives with our best-selling videos hosted by fitness celebrity John Bastow.
Fitness Made Simple gives you the power to change. The power to change your body, the power to change your life.
Order our power package today and get the original Fitness Made Simple workout and nutrition video, plus AM/PM workouts, John's popular morning and evening exercise video for only $29.95. That's 2 videos for the price of 1. Call now.
Fitness Made Simple, bringing real results to real people.
119,000 cars a day, over 43 million a year, all drive I-394. Yet, how many of these people really know what goes on at JJ's Clubhouse? I decided to find out. Photos of JJ's give us little to go on. In disguise, I approached the building inconspicuously. And as I walked in, I noticed this place looks like a lot of fun. Great food and drink specials. How come I didn't find out about JJ's Clubhouse sooner?
Minnesota about to attempt a 30-yard field goal. What about the clock, though, Bob?
Mark, it's personal opinion. I like using my timeouts on defense, particularly when you have 3, because offensively, Penn State, there's a lot of different ways to stop the clock. A lot of time went off that clock, gets it down to 2 minutes and 26 seconds right now.
Reese Lloyd from 30 yards out, and he continues that impressive streak of now 22 consecutive made field goals by Minnesota kickers dating back to last year. Timeout on the field. Michael Robinson and Joe Paterno's offense will get the ball when we come back. A chance to tie with a touchdown.
Designed to resist water, dust, snow, imitation. There's no other digital camera like it. Stylus Digital from Olympus. Designed to do more.
The new spicy chicken burrito from Taco Bell. Packed with shredded chicken simmered in authentic Mexican spices. It's a little spicy, a lot filling, and only $1.29. To get your fill of this satisfying thrill, think outside the bun.
Looking to put more miles in your tank? All Shell gasolines are now specially formulated to give you better mileage, helping to take you farther.
Are you cheap?
Cheap? No way.
What about frugal?
Frugal, I'm a little on the frugal side.
So you must use 10-10-987.
10-10-987?
It's 3 cents a minute and 39 cents to connect to anywhere in the U.S. Just dial 10-10-987, then 1 and the number.
Anywhere in the U.S.? That is cheap.
And 3 cents a minute to anywhere in Canada and Western Europe.
Canada and Western Europe, too? Get out of here.
Now that's really cheap.
That's serious cheap.
ESPN's College Football Saturday. Brought to you by Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light. Cold, down, easy. And by Olympus and the Stylus Digital. Designed to be small. Designed to resist weather. Designed to do more.
Minnesota increasing its lead to 6 points, courtesy of Reese Lloyd's 30-yard field goal. But, man, they chewed up 6:17 on the clock, Bob.
And that's impressive, Mark. It was all runs. The one quarterback sack counts as a run. Impressive drive by Minnesota.
Especially Marion Barber III. This one will come out to the 20-yard line. Michael Robinson and his offense since the second quarter have had a few near misses, especially in the second half. Suffered a couple of drops. They've moved the ball well, but they have been unable to score.
There's no question, Mark, they've squandered away scoring opportunities starting at the end of the first half. They've not punted since the first quarter. But all that matters now, 2 minutes, 21 seconds, 2 timeouts. They've got an opportunity right here to take control and go down and win this football game.
Ricky Upton is in at tailback, along with Sean McHugh. Robinson with time. Complete to Upton. Stopped up after about a 3-yard gain on the play. Actually going to say 4 up to the 24-yard line. They're going to move this with a little bit of tempo. Fraley making the stop for Minnesota. 2nd down and 6 out of the shotgun. Robinson, incomplete, intended for Gerald Smith.
Minnesota in a nickel defense right now.
With the 3rd down coming up for the Gophers with 1:54 to go. The clock stops.
Number 35, Mike Wojciechowski in the game as the nickelback for Minnesota, playing a lot of quarters coverage, 4 deep. They're going to make Michael Robinson obviously execute down the field. But the flats and the outside throws are there if they can complete them.
Here we go on 3rd and 6. Robinson caught by Smith. It depends on the mark. He's close to the 1st down. Wojciechowski made the tackle, and it looks like he's got the 1st down right at the 30.
If you're Penn State, go ahead and get package plays calls right now, because that clock's going to start as soon as they set this football mark. They did convert the 1st down.
1st and 10 with 2 timeouts remaining for the Nittany Lions.
Again, Minnesota given a lot of space right here.
And now a timeout called by Penn State. Robinson going to talk things over with Ganner and Jopa. The finish when we come back.
I will not be afraid of the dark.
I will not feel guilty leaving my dog alone.
I will know my children are safe.
I will finally be able to relax!
At ADT, we help more people feel safe in more ways than any other security company. A single ADT system can help protect your home and family from burglary, fire, and carbon monoxide at a price you can afford. Plus, save up to 20% on your homeowner's insurance. Call 1-800-ADT-ASAP.
Checking out surround sound, huh?
Oh, yeah. Time to add some big sound for the big game.
Come on,
Reddick
come on
takes
now.
the snap.
Come on.
He drops his back. He's going deep.
Maybe it's time to go plasma, too.
Yeah. Dinner.
Upgrade your system now through September 27th and get 24-month financing on select TVs and home audio. Thousands of possibilities. Get yours. Best Buy.
Coming October 13th on GoArmy.com.
State down 6 with a 1st and 10 from their own 30.
See Minnesota again in 4 deep coverages. A lot of room on the outside of the field.
Robinson caught at midfield by Terrell. Ernie Terrell. They've got 2 timeouts remaining. A 20-yard pickup.
Mark, in college football, as you know, the clock stops on a 1st down as they move the chain. So plenty of time right here. Minnesota again 4 deep across the board.
Robinson, pressure off the corner, set up the screen to McHugh, and he's tripped up nicely by Terrence Campbell, the 6'2 sophomore. He's 2nd down.
Great tackle by Terrence Campbell right there. The critical point marker keeps the clock going. McHugh didn't have the chance to get out of bounds.
Penn State. Robinson, caught by Johnson. 1st down. They're going to mark it at the 36-yard line. This might be the season for Penn State.
And Tony Johnson is down, holding his hamstring right there.
They've already lost Zach Mills for the game due to an injury. This would be another critical blow to their offense. Mills was shaken up on the last play of the 1st quarter, now on crutches. Now Johnson lay on the field for Penn State. Team's leading receiver.
We look at Penn State right here. Michael Robinson, Darrell Reed with great pressure. They throw the curl right in there between the corner and the safety. Tony Tony Johnson twisting out of there, Mark, trying to get some extra yardage. May have pulled that hamstring. Right here, you see him working for extra yardage.
Big catch by Tony Johnson, and if you reflect back on all the problems they've had with drops this season and even in this game, that was a huge play for Penn State.
Penn State with the ball on the 36-yard line, minute and 3, 2 timeouts, Mark. Plenty of time. Now, Greg Hudson, the defensive coordinator for Minnesota, he sat back, some 4-man rush, some quarters coverage. At what point does he come with the 5th rusher and put a little more pressure on Michael Robinson?
As for Robinson, the team has faith in him. The coaches have faith in him. Last year in the Auburn Bowl game, he came down the field, led them down the field to the go-ahead touchdown. He's been in this kind of big-time position before. On 1st and 10, Robinson already 5 or 6 passing on this drive, and he takes off. Robinson down to the 26-yard line. Determined running by the quarterback.
And another predetermined run, obviously because of the 2 timeouts. Penn State able to run the football. 42 seconds, Mark, 2 timeouts.
Out of the shotgun again, Robinson. Is it complete? They're going to say it's a catch. Near the 15 to Gerald Smith, who dropped the critical pass earlier in the game. Atoning for that error here.
You see Michael Robinson staying alive right there, throws the out route, right to sticks. Another first down to Gerald Smith. Greg Hudson is going to have to heat up Michael Robinson right now. A little too much time, particularly when you're playing zone coverage, to let him float around back there.
The ball is on the 15-yard line. And Penn State calls a timeout. They now have 1 remaining. Let's reflect back now on some of the key points and plays in the ball game.
Plenty of key plays, Mark.
This was
right here, right before the end of the half, a 17-14 game. The controversial interception call. Then you get on a critical 3rd down play. Gerald Smith drops the ball. Penn State misses the field goal. Then the interception by Justin Fraley. But another developing point of emphasis right now is Penn State and these timeouts. They again use a timeout. They're now down to 1 on 1st down, Mark, after a 1st down with the clock stopped. So that limits you just a little bit in some of these quarterback runs and things with a quarterback like Michael Robinson. You can only stop the clock 1 more time. So I'm a little bit surprised there after converting the 1st down with the stoppage of the clock that they would burn a timeout. That's actually the 2nd time we've seen them do that. They did that in the 1st half right before the controversial interception.
Robinson keeping this game alive and their hopes alive for Penn State in this ball game. Here in Happy Valley, Mark Jones, Bob Davie, and Holly Rowe. Minnesota, it's up to their defense to stay undefeated now. 25 seconds to go. Play fake. Robinson into the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Gerald Smith, who made a big catch moments ago.
And if you're Penn State, Mark, it's only 2nd down. There's time, 20 seconds. You have a timeout. Don't force the ball if you're Michael Robinson. Give yourself 3 more chances. So if it's not there, be patient.
There's the 10th play of the drive. Michael Robinson filling in for an injured Zach Mills. Suffered a sprained knee on the last play of the 1st quarter. Then Robinson's offense sinks.
Minnesota again in quarters coverage.
They give it to the true freshman, Scott, and he's brought down at the 13. Clock stops with 15 seconds to go as Penn State burns its final timeout. Minnesota with 2 remaining.
Very similar on that call to the 2nd down at the end of the 1st half, Mark, where Penn State used the timeout after the 1st down, even though the clock was stopped. They come back on 2nd down and run the draw. Same situation right there, almost identical to the end of the 1st half. Sets up 3rd down and 7.
Michael Robinson getting his marching orders from Joe Pa and Fran Ganner. And he is today's Olympus Player of the Game with 220 total yards of offense and a touchdown.
Think back to the squandered opportunities by Penn State. They have not punted since the first quarter. They've had several opportunities to either kick field goals or score touchdowns. Once again, they're going to finish this game with a golden opportunity, Mark. Can they capitalize right here and win this football game?
Minnesota with an opportunity, conversely, to quiet all their critics, all their doubters, all the people that say they haven't played anybody. They're 4-0, but they may look like Tarzan, but they played James. We'll find out right here.
And Tony Johnson back in the football game for Penn State. You see him at the top of the field.
Robinson on the fade. Incomplete. No catch. Kranchik caught it, but he was out of bounds with 9 seconds to go.
We're going to get a chance to see just the end of this right here. Obviously, excellent call. Kranchik out of bounds. Mark, it all comes down to this. Throw out all the preseason, who you played, who you didn't play. All the controversy over Minnesota's non-conference record. It comes down to 4th down and 8 yards.
Robinson is going to work out of the shotgun.
Minnesota in a 4-man rush.
Into the end zone, throws it up for Smith. Incomplete. And Minnesota takes over on downs with 4 seconds to go. A little bit long and strong by Robinson, intended for Smith, who had caught a couple of big ones on the drive, but not that time. The Gophers 4 seconds away from improving to 5-0. And once again, just like in 1999, they come in here and beat Penn State. A win today, and they'll have had their 3rd consecutive victory over the Nittany Lions.
And their 6th straight win dating back to last year, Mark.
They get 252 yards on the ground, and Assad Abdul-Khalik holds up the ball. And they will storm out of Happy Valley with a victory. Marion Barber III with a great job on the ground. 134 yards in total. Glenn Mason and his counterpart, Joe Paterno, congratulating each other. An interesting second half. Neither team scoring that much, but a wonderful battle. And right now, Holly Rowe is standing by with the winning coach, Glenn Mason. Holly?
Coach, what was your thought when your defense had to hold on 4th and 8 to win this game?
Well, you know, I got to be honest with you. I always talk to them about thinking positive. You know, if you're losing, you bring up negative things. And all I kept saying, you know, right down there, we won in the last play of the game. Let's win in the last play of the game again.
This has always been a close contest between you and Joe Paterno. What does it do for your team to win on the road in your Big Ten opener?
Well, it does a lot. I think we're 5-0 and 1-0 in Big Ten play, and we still got a pretty young team. And I thought whoever made a defensive play out here would win today, and we got a long ways to go. So we're just excited to come in here in Happy Valley, and it's the classiest place we go. And I love Joe Paterno. I hate competing against him though, because I love the guy so much.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Coach.
Thank you.
Guys.
All right, Holly, let's take one more look at the final 4th down attempt in the end zone. Smith was the intended receiver from Robinson.
And Penn State throws the corner route. Really double coverage back there with Wojciechowski and Yuki Dozier, the corner. Just simply thrown a little too far, but give Minnesota credit. Penn State had their opportunities to win, had Minnesota on the run a little bit, but Minnesota starts fast, finishes fast, and comes in and wins their Big Ten opener.
All right, the final score, Bob, once again, 20-14 coming up next. Get all the scores and highlights on College Game Day Scoreboard presented by Acura. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For Bob Davey, Holly Rowe, and the rest of our talented ESPN crew, I'm Mark Jones. Right now, let's go back to Reese in the studio.
All right, Mark, glad to have you with us on the College Game Day Scoreboard presented by Acura. Trev Alberts and Mark May here with me. Not only do we have for the 3rd straight week the threat of a top 10 team being beaten by an unranked team, we have an upset brewing in Lexington, Kentucky that might be more far-reaching than your average single Saturday upset. Let's talk about this game a little bit, guys. We said before the day started, Minnesota really untested, played 4 games that clearly they were going to win against teams that were overmatched against them. Almost fumbled that victory bell there at the end that you saw, but Minnesota able to hang on and win a tough, hard-fought game.
I like the way that Minnesota ran the ball on offense. They're 4 deep at the running position, but I've got questions about their defense, Trev. They couldn't stop Penn State when it counted, and they went to a prevent defense. They probably should have put pressure on the quarterback of Penn State.
Hey, Greg Hudson chose not to do that. I agree with you. This was a nice win for Minnesota, and I think there are a lot of people who will make the conclusion now that this team is ready to challenge for the Big Ten. I think looking at this team offensively, no questions. I mean, they have all kinds of weapons. Defensively, a team that can run it right at them, can ball control and stay in the game, but clearly a great win for Glenn Mason.
They've got Northwestern coming up. The schedule will get tougher on down the road, but
6-0, that's a nice start.
Bowl eligibility already sitting right there. They've got much larger aspirations for Minnesota for sure. Certainly the reigning national champions with plenty of aspirations of repeating. But Ohio State